right, guys, we got another one for you. And this is a female who is 30 years old, and she has some advice for us. Let's take a gander, shall we?
My phone really said, forget that little skincare chit chat video that you thought you recorded. The footage ain't here, sis. Forget the funk that you dragged yourself out of to record that video. The footage is MIA. But anyways, the topic, besides just sharing my skincare recommendations, that I was talking about was, as I turn 30, I'm beginning to realize that I feel like a lot of the negative feelings and associations that we as women, specifically Black women, have associated with turning 30, I personally can't relate to. And I started thinking, like, why? Why can I not relate to some of these feelings? And I think that one of the many reasons is that y'all's mama and them should have divorced your fathers instead of staying in loveless marriages. And if more women came from divorced women, like divorced mothers, and your divorced mothers gave y'all advice as you were turning 30, I feel like your whole outlook on 30 would be different. And let me explain. Let me cook. My mother had a divorce when she was roughly like 24, 25, right? And so I saw my mother as a young 30-something-year-old single for the majority of her 30s. And the advice that she gave me growing up was, let me give an example. Some of my approaching 30 or already 30 homegirls have expressed, and this is something I absolutely cannot relate to, this kind of like disgruntlement because they were taught to like wait until you have a husband before you buy a house, which is just bonkers to me. Like, I can't understand, because my mom told me the exact opposite. She said, make sure you have your own assets, make sure you have your own car, make sure you've acquired all the degrees you want to get, because you don't know. Like, no one goes into a marriage expecting divorce. Of course. Like, this is not me advocating for divorce, but rather than staying in loveless marriages with husbands, and then your advice to your daughters being to persevere and keep on keeping on instead of stack up your bread and become accomplished outside of any man before starting to partner legally with one.
Let me stop right there, because she's smoking sherm sticks. Let me be the first to say it. Something's not right with this one here. First of all, the hair, Jesus Christ. You're not fooling anyone. And I'm also getting a masculine vibe from this woman, man. Her mannerisms, the way she's moving, I just tomboy, call it, I don't know what to call it, but it's not feminine. All right. And she's giving bad advice here. She really is. I'm not liking what I'm seeing here. And yeah, she is 30 years old and she is single, and she's probably going to remain that way. Yeah. And nothing's wrong with, per se, going after, what you want as far as your career and those type of things. But here's my thing. Let's say you're in the process of going after something you want, whether it be career-based, whatever it may be. Okay. And you're doing your thing like usual, and you happen to meet somebody that you truly end up falling in love with, falling for, whatever. Should you dismiss that because you were focused on your quote unquote career, or should you give way or let what you see in front of you happen? Okay. And the vibe I'm getting from her is, hey, by all means necessary, everything else by the wayside, get the bag. That's numero uno. Cover your bases, yada, yada, yada. Okay. That's bad advice, especially somebody approaching 30. And if you're a female, you don't have those opportunities. If you consider yourself being in love with somebody or falling for somebody, you need to take that and you need to look at that. And I think you need to run with that. Okay. That's just my humble opinion, guys, because what's going to end up happening in the end is you're going to, if you chose to bypass that situation or scenario, you're going to look back on it and you're going to be very regretful, because you're going to eventually come to a point where you hit that wall and you're no longer dateable, or you're no longer a commodity in the dating pool when it comes to men looking for you. And it's going to be too late. Okay. And anybody else who comes into your circle, anybody else who is trying to, date you per se, they're not going to be your type. They're going to be people you don't want to deal with, okay? And this is just honest to God truth, guys. And I'm talking about the average woman here, you know, your typical woman. I'm not talking about the top, 10, 15% of women. I'm not talking about the top 10, 15% of men, okay? Because those individuals have it a little easier. And you can say, if you really wanted to be honest, borderline, cheat code mode for a lot of this stuff. And I have other videos talking about these things, but let's continue with this one in the meantime.
Of course, I'm speaking for heterosexual relationships here. I just think that our whole world would change. And again, some of this is influenced by coming from, like a Nigerian immigrant background where divorce is still more stigmatized than it is in the general, I feel like, American public, but still. Because the way my mother told me, like, your 20s up until your 30s should be about stacking bread, stacking degrees, stacking houses, stacking assets. Why would I want my first major appreciating asset, to only be acquired after I'm legally connected to somebody else?
Man, she is really snowed, guys. She is caught up in the matrix for real, and she doesn't even know it. That's the funny thing about this. And the sign says it all. Divorced moms give the best advice. That is some of the most crooked shit I have ever read. And I'm just being 110% honest with you guys listening to this right now. This is the worst advice I could ever give. It's funny to me. It really is. And she's going to find out the hard way in about 5 years, okay? When she hits 35, that wall is slapped. She's already knocking her forehead against it right now, if I'm being honest, guys. Okay, the fake eyelashes, the fake hair, weaves, all of that, the mannerisms of her hands, the way she's moving, I don't like it. It's rubbing me the wrong way. It's making me extremely uncomfortable, guys. I'm just being honest with you guys. This is somebody that I personally would not, and I do mean not, be dealing with, okay? I see her, I run, all right? And she's talking about getting the bag, doing this, doing that. By the time they finish getting that quote unquote bag and running it up and all of those things that they do, these things that they want to accomplish, guys, it's going to be too late. They're going to turn around and they're going to be 40. They're going to turn around and be 40 and nobody's going to be checking for them. Guys, I'm telling you right now, a female could roll up right now. A beautiful girl could roll up on any man, no matter what. She could roll up in a Pinto. All right. She could roll up in a piece of trash of a vehicle, right? And I guarantee you it will not matter. It will not matter. Okay? I'm not sitting here saying that a woman should not go after what she wants as far as financially and get your money and all that. But at the same time, I'm not sitting here telling you to do that in your 20s and just avoid dating or getting married in your 20s. That's the prime time that you should be doing this. Okay. You just need to make sure it's the right person. You just need to make sure you're actually in love with this person. Okay. That's what you need to make sure of, period. Okay. That's all I'm saying here, because it's not going to be the same at 35, 40 years old. It's just not going to. The older you get, the harder it gets to date. All right. I'm just telling you right now. And if you're talking about having kids, when men are going to want to have kids. If they decide they want to be married, most men are going to want to have kids. Okay. And 35 to 40-year-old women, with low pregnancy rates and dangers of all that, they're not going to want to deal with that. That's not what they're looking for. That's not what they're checking for. And she is so blind to that. She doesn't see that. She's already slapping the wall right now. She doesn't even know it. Right? She thinks she still has plenty of time. And I'm telling you right now, she is so lost in the sauce. Let's continue.
Like, that don't even make no sense. So that was what my topic of my skincare video was about. It was about how, like, if instead of bragging about how your parents have been together for 30 years and they sleep in separate rooms, like, maybe if they had gotten divorced and your mom had lived her little hot girl 20s out, her advice to you would have been different. And so now that you're turning 30, you're like disgruntled, like, dang, I don't even have a house, but you're also kind of holding on to hope that you'll get a husband and then get a house. Like, maybe this like internal conflict that a lot of y'all are feeling about like not accomplishing enough or accomplishing what you needed to, and feeling so, I don't know, out of sorts about not having a man or not being married. Ain't no ring on my finger yet.
And there never will be. I promise you, there never will be, unless it's somebody that you absolutely cannot deal with somebody you borderline despise who wants to marry you. I guarantee you it's not going to be someone you want to marry. And I'm telling you that with 110% facts. All right. This one here, there's no denying. I don't care what you tell me. Anybody can come here and tell me whatever they want. No, this one is not happening. Okay. Period. Point blank.
Maybe that would be different if your mom had divorced your dad. I don't know. That's just my theory for the day.
Yeah, that's it, man. Like I said, this chick here is lost. Okay. She is not all there. And I really can't believe that a lot of these women, when they get on these platforms, guys, they don't see it. They're oblivious. There are so many videos like this. I mean, I could do this forever. I could make content like this forever. Okay. I'll never run out of content, guys. Never, ever, ever. And they walk around just like this. And that's why it says it on the screen, clear as day. Divorced moms give the best advice. All right. And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with divorced mothers feeding this trash to their daughters, and the cycle continues. This is what we're dealing with, guys. They're trying to teach people that, or teach women at least, that it's okay to be divorced. It's okay not to get married in your youth. It's okay to wait until you're 40 years old, 35, 40 years old to start looking for someone to marry. Get your money, get your bag up, you know what I'm saying, in all your 20s, and worry about that and that only. That's what they're teaching people out here. You know, ditch the family value thing. You don't need it right now. It'll be there when you need it. No, it will not. Okay. No, it will not. They don't understand that as you age, that goes down lower, lower, and lower. Men don't have that same issue. Okay. They don't have to worry about that like women have to worry about that. Women age faster and they have less options. Okay. A guy who is 45 years old can still go out there and continue to reproduce. They can continue to get with younger women. Okay. It doesn't work that way for the women. It doesn't. And as soon as they understand that, the better off in life they will be. And with that being said, I will bid you guys adieu. I want to thank everybody for watching the video. Please hit the like and subscribe button. This is a brand new channel, trying to grow it. And I want to thank everybody once again for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next video.